This video is sponsored by me. Read my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death. Link in the description. Greetings, fellow mortals. In a lot of ways, it feels sacrilegious to criticize the old Aladdin movie. Anything with Robin Williams in it is a gem that should be respected. Losing him was probably the biggest loss to comedy in cinema in the 2010s. Even 10 years later, I think about him every couple of months. Everything about it feels so raw. Perhaps it was because it was done by his own hand, and people still debate about what exactly happened with him. I remember reading last year that he had Lewy body dementia, and that could be a contributing factor to his decision. Learning about that completely changed my perspective about his situation, but it never tainted my memory of him. Nothing short of horror stories about him could do that. He would have to be Bill Cosby for me to forsake him, because he was a huge part of my childhood. Robin Williams was an actor and comedian who only brought joy to the world, and anyone who speaks ill of him loses a bit of my respect. And fortunately, most people realize that's the truth. If you tried to attack Robin Williams' memory, you're itching for a fight.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
But while I could never bring myself to criticize him in his movies, I can criticize inferior remakes, which changes my perspective on the film. Sorry, Will Smith. Despite how weird you've become, you didn't deserve to be set up to fail by Disney. Trying to replace Robin Williams is like trying to replace Michael Jordan. It's just not possible. But I'm not here to criticize Will Smith's performance. I want to talk about the titular character of Aladdin. There is a lot to praise about the film, mostly the original one. The visuals, the characters, the music, they're all superb. I can only think of one thing in both versions of the movie that's a major problem that I just can't get over. Now, stick with me, dear viewers. Aladdin is not a good hero. In fact, it gets to the point that I actually think that the genie is the reason that the story works at all, both with Robin Williams and with Will Smith. Because imagine if the genie didn't have a wonderful personality. Would you really want to root for Aladdin?
Coincidence? I think not!
Now, let's break this down. Aladdin is quote-unquote a street rat. He lives in a secret special hiding spot. In order to eat, he steals from merchants across the city of Agrabah. He's young, quick-witted, athletic, and charismatic. Those aspects of his character are well done. In fact, they're executed so perfectly that people overlook that Aladdin does not make good choices. If you think about it, he actively hurts the people around him. Not to sound like a boomer or a jerk, but why doesn't Aladdin just get a job? He's an able-bodied young man that's good with friendly people. Has he tried to find legitimate work? Was he turned away? Was he forced to steal at a young age and gained a reputation that he just can't get past? Then why does he seem so friendly with the populace other than the merchants and the guards? Could no one find him better work where he doesn't have to risk his life for a piece of bread? Is he just stupid? Because that's kind of what you're telling me here. If the truth is different, you need to show it. Add something to have all of this make sense.
It does not make sense. Look at me. I'm a lawyer defending a major record company, and I'm talking about Chewbacca. Does that make sense?
And let's just say that no one is willing to hire him. Okay, you showed that. Why is he stealing from innocent people then? What did they do? They're just people trying to make money to support their families. For all Aladdin knows, he's taking food directly from their children's mouths. What if the merchants are pennies away from losing everything? Do they look like they're rich like the Sultan? Aladdin is stealing from the poor to feed himself and Abu, or in one case, to feed a couple of kids. Yeah, nice try, movie. I know what you're doing. Because here's the thing, Aladdin is shown to be able to outrun and hide from guards. You know, the people that are only doing their jobs and upholding the law. At what point did they do anything wrong other than try to stop Aladdin from hurting innocent people? If he can escape from the Sultan's forces, why isn't he going for thieves, thugs, and bandits? Why not just cover his face, steal gold and jewels from the bad guys, and then give the money to the populace? There's a reason that the concept of Robin Hood works so well. And this is even a better version, because Aladdin could be shown taking money from purely evil people and then giving it to those that need it.
Because it's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now.
Finally, Aladdin is pretty much a liar, especially to the people he claims to care about. He lied every step of the way with Jasmine. He betrayed Genie. At what point did he deserve a happy ending? Jasmine should have dumped him as soon as she realized that he refused to tell her the truth until he was absolutely forced to. I don't know a lot of women with her personality that would tolerate such nonsense. Thing with the genie, Aladdin made a promise to the genie and then wasn't going to follow through with it. He made a promise. What type of hero makes a promise and then breaks it? At what point was Aladdin shown to have moral characteristics that we can admire? How is he a diamond in the rough exactly? He's shown to be a terrible, selfish person. Now, you could argue that he's not exactly meant to be a hero. He's just meant to be a person. And that's fine if that's a story you're trying to tell. But then why is everyone telling me how great he is throughout the movie? How beloved he is? How heroic he is? He's just some dude who got a magic lamp. Nothing about him was admirable. He didn't change or develop or grow. He was just a selfish guy that got what he wanted because he was charismatic and persuasive. And the thing about this is that it's very easy to fix. Take out the starting scene with the merchant, which is pretty much pointless to the overall story. Instead, show a flashback of Aladdin being alone in Agrabah as a child and being forced to steal to survive. It's a lot more understandable for a kid to have to do that than a fully grown man. Then, flash forward to Aladdin being chased by bandits that he stole from. He pays back the merchants that he stole from as a child and gives more of the gold to the poor. In fact, he gives away most of what he has and barely supports himself and Abu because of his selflessness. When Jasmine first meets him, she sees everything that he's done for the people, how everyone around him loves him, how he talked down a merchant from hurting her because of the goodwill he created with the populace. From there, most things could basically be the same. No, except for Jasmine only liking Aladdin because he's the main character. His personality doesn't have to change all that much. He could even trick the genie for a free ride out of the cave because that was a funny scene and it showed his cunning. After all, creative thinking and a quick wit are admirable traits, something that we would look for in a hero instead of a loser.
Stupid is, stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
Then, when he bonds with Jasmine, Aladdin reveals the whole truth to her. She accepts him because of course she does, and they decide to keep it all a secret from the rest of the world. No one else needs to know. The marriage laws are something that they're going to change when they're in charge of the kingdom anyway. You can even show the genie interacting with Jasmine a bit. That would be fun in the first film. Finally, when you get to the scene where Aladdin denies Genie his freedom, the writers just need to recontextualize it. Have Aladdin break down and worry that he's not good enough for his new role without Genie, that his entire situation would fall apart without magic, that he's nothing, and that he needs Genie's support and friendship, otherwise he's worthless. You can even have him make points that people only valued him when he was able to do something for them. And once he doesn't have magic, he won't be able to give Jasmine what she needs. Or at least that's what he thinks. Have the genie be a bit more understanding and point out the simple idea of, passing the lamp to Jasmine for a bit. You know, the one thing that I thought of when I was 5 years old and I first saw this movie, and just have them put a pin in this until after the wedding because Genie wants to watch the ceremony anyway. And Jafar can steal the lamp and the rest of the film can basically progress the exact same way as the original. Have the arc be that Aladdin gains confidence in himself and realizes that he doesn't need magic. It's not about what he can provide for people, it's about being who he is, and that's the person that Jasmine loves. Also, Jasmine can still use the lamp for 3 wishes before Aladdin even releases the genie. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
As you can see, you don't have to change much about the script. It's not world-bending stuff here, it just cleans up the situation to make Aladdin more admirable as a human being. That way, the diamond and the rough stuff actually makes sense. It would tie the film together better. The story wouldn't completely rely on Genie's performance, and the romance wouldn't feel so off. Just saying. It could be better, and they're not hard fixes. It makes me wonder what the writers were thinking through all this. This is pretty simple stuff. Make the hero someone to admire. It's very basic stuff here. Have a small character arc having to do with Aladdin's confidence in who he is, that he's worth something because of who he chose to be instead of who he was born as. I think that's a lot stronger of a message for this story. It would explain why everyone loves him so much, and it doesn't make him feel like such a jerk sometimes. Also, did no one think to just give the lamp to Jasmine for 5 minutes to fix all of the problems? But what do you think? Am I completely off base here? Do you like Aladdin as a main character? Do you prefer my changes? Do you want a story's hero to actually be heroic and admirable? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, please remember that I just released my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death, Book 1 in the Written in Stone series, link in the description. And my second book, Above Heaven, will be released in May 1st, 2023. I hope that you will check them both out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.